After 3 decades of diplomatic work, she stepped down to pursue her passion. Rosa Malango started her diplomatic work in 1994 in Angola when she volunteered with the United Nations Children's Fund. She served in various countries until 2005 when she moved to New York, holding the position of Chief of the External Relations and Partnerships at the UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. In 2015, she was assigned to Guatemala to serve as the head of the Resident Coordinator's Office at UNDP. In 2016, she moved to Uganda as the UN Resident Coordinator and the UNDP Resident Representative. In summary, she has worked under the leadership of 3 UN Secretary Generals, that's Kofi Annan between 1997 and 2006, Ban Ki-moon from 2007 to 2016, and Antonio Guterres from 2017 to the current date. While she cannot assess the performance of her former superiors, she learned valuable lessons from each one of them.
Under late Kofi Annan, when he served, I was a junior officer, but he was one of the first who showed me how to empower younger people. So despite being very young, he assigned me to be a special assistant and a spokesperson to a lot of the Secretary General's special envoys. What I recall from Ban Ki-moon very clearly is that he pushed for diversified leadership. It was under Ban Ki-moon that the new rules came out that in order to have a list of people who could serve as his representatives, he wanted women and he wanted people from the Global South. So we were having an issue until then that most of the representatives were male and from the North. Ban Ki-moon changed that. My boss, former boss now, Antonio Guterres, he was very much focused on the inequalities in our system and how we can find solutions to them. So under him, I focused a lot on how do we make sure that Ugandan voice was part of that discussion. So making sure that Uganda was part of the World Humanitarian Summit. If we're going to redefine the Refugee Pact, which became the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, how to make sure the Uganda experience was a baseline, an example for that.
Uganda hosts the highest number of refugees in Africa and the 3rd largest globally. Under her leadership, the UN and the government of Uganda hosted the largest summit for refugees in 2017. The Stand with Refugees Summit, aiming to reshape migration through awareness, but also seek support for refugees and the host communities.
In my first year of life, I went from being a diplomatic baby to being a refugee toddler. And I remember the pain and the storytelling from my parents for most of my life of that. So we grew up, my brothers and I, without knowing who our family were because, we were asylum seekers. So I know the pain, I know what it means, and I know what it means when you are welcome somewhere and you're embraced. My late father was invited by Samora Machel to come and serve in Mozambique, and I remember that was my first awakening of being on African territory, and we were embraced in Mozambique, and nobody looked at the fact that these are some asylum seekers here. And so coming to Uganda and discovering that Uganda had this incredible, unique approach where host communities cohabitate with the refugees, where refugees are encouraged to farm, where refugees have access to education and health, it was a story that needed to be told. So I really thought that we had an opportunity to showcase the Ugandan model of refugee hosting, which was based on Ubuntu.
During her tenure in Uganda, the United Nations proposed relocating its base from Uganda to Kenya. The UN Regional Center in Uganda supports 13 missions in Africa. President Museveni opposed the move, citing its unfairness, considering Uganda's humanitarian services, especially for refugees, and its contribution in Somalia. Rosa Malango's efforts in retaining this base were significant.
More importantly, I think that it will be interesting to have a reflection on what is Uganda's profile nowadays. Uganda for a while was known as the peacekeeper. of the region, and that partly influenced the kind of footprint that not just the UN but several international partners had. Now Uganda is moving towards having a more dynamic role in terms of the the political economy of the region. So it'll be interesting to see what does that mean. So what kind of value chains are we talking about, and with whom? I have witnessed an East Africa that was 4 or 5 countries. Now it's 7 or 8, I believe. So what does that mean?
Rosa Malango's tour of duty concluded in 2021, and she moved back to New York to work as the director of regional commissions. She resigned her duties in 2023 and relocated permanently back to Uganda.
Almost 20 years ago, my father wasn't well, and I was on assignment, and I continued to be on an assignment, and then one day I got the call, he was gone. So I missed being with my father because I was serving humanity. So when about a year and a half ago, my brother started communicating to me about my mother's challenges, I monitored the situation, and last year I told the Deputy Secretary General there is no way I'm going to repeat the same mistake that I did when I lost my father. My mom's situation was fragile. My first son was also having a lot of health issues. And I said I would not forgive myself if we lost my mother because I was serving the world. So I said, it's almost 30 years. I need to say thank you very much, call it quits and move on. I'm sure I can find another way to take care of us, but I needed to focus on my mom, not my kids, full time.
Balancing family and work poses a tough challenge for many diplomats. Oftentimes, they are moved to different countries and regions across the globe. Rosa Malango's experience was worse. Because of her demanding schedule, getting a child was miraculous.
I don't think that people are speaking up about the cost of being international civil servant. You're almost never with your family. You miss a lot of things. You're constantly in different places. It's difficult to set a route because you are not there. So it was a miracle for me to be a mother and still an international civil servant, because you have to try to balance things out, and you pay a price for it. You pay a price for it, your family pays a price for it, your kids pay a price for it.
Rosa Malango has since settled into leading Tumain African Knowledge Center, TAC, a company focused on realigning African values and innovative solutions.
Another gap that I used to see, so many times these investors come, they set up these value chains, set up these companies, but then they don't link to the small and medium enterprises who can become part of their value chain. So then we have been working with the small and medium enterprises, which are mostly led by women and youth, and helping them to profile themselves, helping them to present themselves, helping them to showcase themselves, and helping them to brief these investors when they come into the country to do feasibility studies so that they can become part of the value chain. And within this, we worked with UN Women and the Ministry of Agriculture and Gender recently to have the Source of the Nile Women Agribusiness side event on the margins of NAM. And I want to thank His Excellency the President for encouraging us to proceed. And imagine we had as many as 100 women identified, 50 came to showcase what they're doing. And as TAC, we're going to be focusing on helping 5 find the right partnerships to continue to grow.
To emerging women leaders, here's a message for you.
Never stop. You will be judged, you will be discouraged, you will be told off, you will be considered not serious, but be clear about your dreams, be ready to learn, and have faith. I pray a lot. If I don't pray, I don't think that I would be where I am today. But people may see me and think I don't struggle. I still have to fight for myself every day, just for being a woman and being new in a sector, in an area. So as a woman, you always have to work 10 times more than everybody else. I document my things a lot, so you will see wherever I am, there's always publications, because I think it's a way of conveying seriousness. Take care of your networks. You never know who can help you. I was talking this morning to someone and telling them about how I keep my networks. So like now I'm doing my TAC Market Day. I have been on WhatsApp for the past 3 days going through saying, please support my hustle, please come and see my youth and women, please come and buy something from where I am. And when you're respectful with people, you never know who will turn around the day of tomorrow and give you that break that you need. But it's not easy. It's a hustle. Whatever your faith is, rely on your faith, and just be disciplined about the work. But it's a hustle.